Hey. So, Formula Unica is a new group based out of South Carolina, and they finally released a full-length album called Universal Contraband. It has 12 songs with a runtime of 37 minutes or so, and this album has been in the making for around 3 years now, with 3 singles being released all basically in 1 year. Those 3 singles showcase the potential that the group has and how they'll grow in the future. With those songs in this album, what can I say about it? Well, I think it's a pretty great album for their first time releasing 12 songs on their own terms, like with no label or anything. It's basically just them creating the music that they like. Now, this album obviously has its issues, but overall I think it's a foundation for what works for them and what doesn't work. This is a pretty solid album, whether it be the instrumentation and how insane the guitars can go off, like songs in Tato Paso and Flotaretto, or Adrian's vocals, which just are amazing, and his flow switch ups throughout these songs also keep the listener interested. The album is great, but it does start off a little rough. All Star has great instrumentation in the beginning, don't get me wrong, but as the song progresses, I feel like it does start to fall apart a little bit, mainly in the mix. The vocals are buried beneath the instrumentation most of the times, especially going into the second verse. The guitars and bass sometimes clash together too much, where it gets like this very crunchy sound. The use of English and Spanish just doesn't work very well here, and it sounds very forced at times, trying to fit it in as best as possible as it can instead of flowing nicely. And this song also feels very out of place for this album. You know, it just feels a little too different, and I feel like if they were going in this direction stylistically, that it would probably be better for another album. We do get our hopes up with the next few songs that come out on the rest of this album, which have little to no mistakes somewhat. Hombre de Acción and Amanecí Contento are songs that are very laid back and just chill. The guitars sound great with the melodies that they have accompanied with them. The bass line is very simple, but the vocals give the ability to the song to be so much more enjoyable. On its own, it would still be great. The instrumentation, it sounds amazing. The vocals still add, like, you know, obviously that other flavor that you wouldn't expect, but Adrian's vocals just sound very unique on these tracks. Quien Eres is an amazing song, and it's one of my favorites personally. It has very vibrant chords, and Adrian's vocals coming in just sound amazing. This time, the Spanish and English isn't as forced, and it just flows so perfectly with the song. New shirt Nick here, let's get back to what I was talking about. The bass could be a lot better, as it does sound that only the metal from the strings was recorded, and it leaves this song feeling a little bit empty and not as full as it should be, and this kind of happens throughout the album through some songs, not all of them. Colores has a variety of different playing styles, as it switches up 3 times and it gives the song a lot of character. Personally, not one of my favorite vocal performances from Adrian. I know he could do a lot better. This one, it just sounds a little plain and bland, as he just follows the melody of when the guitar switches. And this song can get repetitive at times, but it's a pretty enjoyable song still. Poderosa is an okay song. The song feels a little clunky in its playing style, and Adrian feels rushed throughout the song when he's singing. There's parts where it feels very dragged out, and like the guitars are rushing him and they're not staying exactly on tempo. It's not one of my favorite songs, still a little bit of enjoyable. If you like the song, ups to you. No Te Confundas is confusing. Don't get me wrong, the instrumentation and the vocals are good, but I don't know, something about it just feels off when you consider the whole album. I don't know if I like it or if I don't like it, but I find myself not listening to it a lot because it's not one of their standout performances from the group as a whole. So as you can see, there's some good songs, and there's like songs that are a little rough. They're still good, but you know, they're not as amazing as they could be. But the next 3 songs are the couple last ones, and I think this is the best off the album so far. Starting off with one of my favorites is VPC. VPC is an amazing song. When it comes to the instrumentation and the vocals, they all just add up perfectly. Honestly, it surprised me when I listened to it because I was like writing the review, and then I lifted my head up and I heard it, and it just sounded so different from what I have heard previously on the album. Honestly, that song is flawless. Que Voy a Ser is one of the sadder songs off the album, and they do a really great job of capturing the emotions in this song. The bass takes a good chunk of this song, and I think it does give it a lot of emotion and depth, as the ambience with the rain combined and the instrumentation, and then Adrian's vocals are a bit softer in this one. It all just goes together very well and gives off this very nice and sad emotion. Then the last song is Si Me Ven. This song is good mostly about the performance of Adrian's vocals. It swells so beautifully, and the only other way I can describe it is that if I were floating in the sky, honestly. The only problem with it that I have personally, that I've heard not so many people have, but they still like the song. I still do, but there's one gripe I've had with it, and that's the bass. Hey guys, I don't think I explained myself too well right here, but what I was trying to say is that the bass has this popping sound that you can hear, and it kind of tears apart the song a little bit throughout. In the beginning, you can hear it through, like, near the chorus, you can hear it, and it was just something I noticed, but it doesn't ruin the song completely, as there is parts where it does sound nice, it sounds smooth. Like I said, the vocal performance is one of the best parts of the song. The instrumentation is too, but I think the bass isn't mixed as well as it could be. It could be a lot better, but it's still an enjoyable song. Could be a lot better if the mix was. And that's one thing that they do fail with throughout this album sometimes. Like I said earlier, Quien Eres was one of the songs that felt a little bit empty. And some of these songs do. But one song in particularly that has I don't want to say terrible mix, but not one of the best mixes, is Tato Paso. So I don't explain myself well again. Tato Paso is a good song by every mean necessary. Listening to it is great. But when listening to it, I feel like the energy doesn't match the vocals. The vocals sound great, they're bright, you can hear the effects that were added, while the instrumentation, the guitar and the bass just are muffled and like very low end in frequency wise. It feels like they ripped out the entire high end, so you can only hear like the mid frequencies and the low frequencies. So yeah, that's what I feel like it is. I feel like the energy is there, but it doesn't match the whole song. Most of their mixes vary sometimes, with either the guitar sounding pretty high or it being lower, the vocal being pretty high, or the vocal being lower. It's basically a whole mix. If that's how they mix their songs as a creative decision, then that's fine, that's great, that's up to them. It's their mixes, freedom to them. But personally, I feel some of these are a little empty at times, and some of them just don't match the energy that they could have. But with all that out of the way, I think this album is a really good step forward for them. It showcases the talent that they have, the writing that they have, the structures that they could have. I really enjoyed the album, and I keep replaying it constantly, and I keep liking more and more of the songs, even more every day. So I give this album a 7.5 out of 10. Don't agree? Well, leave it in the comment section. Tell me why it should be lower or it should be higher. Let me know what you think in the comments below, or shout me out at my socials right here. It's going to be somewhere on the screen, like my Twitter or something. If you like the review, give it a like. Share it with other people so they know. Go listen to it now on all streaming platforms. Okay, bye way.